Yes, lads, we're back. How we all doing? Yes, back on the live. It's been a while. I think that might. Let's try and move that a little bit. I want to make sure that's perfect. I think we're good. So how we all doing, people? How we all doing? Got a few of yous in the building already. Of course, as always, Ali Drew first. Yes, thank you. I do ever so appreciate that. Let's see how that looks. Looks all good. So we're good to go. As always, as I said, Ali Drew always in there first. We get a few in the building. And we get talking. Main topic of tonight for the next hour or so. Anthony Joshua. Rebuilding, how we see it going. Just basically all that. The kind of rebuilding job and how it's going to go. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm really intrigued because for me, I thought they were going to do the Dylan White fight next. Eddie Hearn's talking about doing that in the summer. Okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. Who are you going to put him in there with, though, in the immediate time? Is it going to be an Olabaleen? Is it going to be a whoever? That's the kind of bit I'm confused about. It's like, that could go one of two ways. That could go really, really well, and they could pick a great opponent. And what I mean by great opponent, I don't mean in terms of ability, but a great opponent for AJ to look good against, but you also might be able to do it decent on pay-per-view. Or you can get someone who on paper is good, like an Olabaleen. AJ could beat him, definitely. Probably would beat him, but might not look the best in doing it. And you might go away from that fight with more questions about AJ in terms of moving forward than you did before you went into it. So, yeah, it's going to be a weird one. Let's get a few in the chat. Big up to Ali Drew. Jeff says we can rebuild him. Yes, we can. We can rebuild him. Although you do forget with Anthony Joshua, and look, this isn't the be all and end all, but you do forget he is 33. Wasn't saying it seems like you forget he's been around for a decade now. Nearly a decade. It'd be a decade, I think, October this year. He'll have been pro a decade. It's crazy how quick time flies. Charles Hearn. Yeah, there we go. The Hearns are in. Eddie Hearn sending his little spy, making sure I'm saying good things. There you go. The Hearn name. Big up to bed every single time. How are you, my friend? How are you? Big up to Joe Stunner. Every time, man. Every time. Thank you for coming on at Christmas time to talk boxing with me and Chris. That was fun. We enjoyed that. The three of us had a good laugh that night. Even the G-Man and even to the chat. Oh, no. Wait. Sounds fine on my end. Is there an issue with the sound? Anyone want to let me know in check? It's actually, like, I obviously have it playing there to make sure it's working all right. It sounds absolutely fine there. So let me know, is there an issue still with the sound or what? Because when I turned it up there, and I just muted the mic, and when I turned it up there, it sounded, I can hear you fine. Okay. Had me worried there for a sec, mate. How you doing, G? Man, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Big up to Reese. Happy New Year. Thank you, Zach. 039. Big up. Happy New Year. Yes, I'm not even going to go with that one, man. I'm not even going to go with that one. Fair play, G, man. You do graft on the channel. Yeah, man, the plan is for more in this year, trying out these shorts, see how they go. You know what it is, right? With those shorts, so you get like 15 seconds to do it. And it's trying to put as much into a 15-second clip as you can. It's not easy. Not the easiest. Putting that much into a 15-second clip. So, but obviously there's plenty more coming in terms of real videos on the channel. I upgraded the thumbnails. So you're seeing the new thumbnails we have going now, which I think are looking really good. And I've been thinking about that for a while. So the thumbnails have taken a bit of a change. I've kind of gone down the road of getting them updated. They're a little bit different now, but I think they look damn good. If you don't mind me saying, I think they look really good. So, there's a lot of good things happening here. Obviously I want to improve some other things. I'm probably going to end up buying another mic because that other mic I got is absolutely garbage. And I wouldn't mind, but the reviews I've seen from it, they all sounded so positive. But when I used it and tried it, it's like it just doesn't pick up on sound. It's weird. Big up to Fight Sport Talk to you every time. He's a student of He's a student of the game. Yeah. And that's me, man. Student of the game. Student of the game. Tell me there wasn't like an issue at the start. I hope there wasn't like an issue with the sound at the start. Right there. So. Yeah, sounded fine from the start. Thank God for that. You had me worried there for a second, man. You had me real worried there for a sec. Real worried. Hope all has been good. Yeah, man, it was a quiet Christmas. You know, I don't tend to do that much anyway over Christmas. I'm not really big into going out and stuff like that. I more like to just save and go away on trips and stuff like that. So for me, it was just try and get some videos out, just enjoy things and just enjoy the time off, man. That was the main thing about Christmas for me. I don't think it's a proper rebuilding because they're already starting talks about Wilder and Fury. Still think it's too early for that. Yeah, you know, it's not just Anthony Joshua who does this. My interpretation of somebody rebuilding is it could take a long time. It could take a year to 18 months to fully rebuild after going through, adversity, after having a bad. Now, obviously, AJ wasn't knocked out by Usyk, but he was beaten twice by him. And I always wonder when I see a fighter come back on a return. David Price was a good example. He used to do this a lot. Would be you'd look at Price and you'd say what he needs realistically is he needs a good year to 18 months of staying active and having confidence building fights, getting his technique in the right space, if you know what I mean, or getting his technique polished and working on defense. What Pricey used to do was he would have maybe one or two comeback fights and then boom, straight into a big fight. And then boom, straight to A&E. That was Pricey. I think the Wallen fight would be competitive. I'd be happy with that. Not 100% sure AJ wins. Yeah, Valine is tricky, man. Valine is tricky. And look, he's not as good as Usyk. We know that. But he is bigger than Usyk. In terms of punching power, I really couldn't tell you really because I'd say probably Usyk probably has a little bit more sting in his shots because Valine's been in there with guys like Dominic Brazil. Dominic Brazil has not got a granite chin. He went the distance with Otto Valine. So, I don't know. No sound issues. All sorted. Thank God. Thank God you had me worried there. In my opinion, this is according to Jordan Perry, AJ is washed at top level. You could be right, man. I suspect he's going to be okay. Just from what I can see, I think he will probably be okay. But it's hard to tell. Like, it's hard to tell. Joshua, it's a strange one with him. I think that he needed to change his team a lot longer than he did. Before he even lost to Ruiz, I was saying he needs to change that team. Get that team changed. It's just a case of what is he going to do? Like, I mean, I don't like the fact that he's talking about going from one trainer to another, etc. I think there's plenty of good trainers out there that you could stick with and work with. To be fair, I think that the best trainer for Joshua, two of the best, may be Peter Fury and may actually be Siobhan Sugar Hill. Neither of which Sugar Hill Stewart isn't going to do it. We obviously know. I think with Peter Fury, I mean, if he ever wants a relationship again with his nephew, I think that might really do it. That might just gone after that point if that happened. Top man, top of the evening, you find Son of Swords. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's best part of Dublin. What are Matchroom doing? They have no UK shows even lined up yet, and bloody middle of January. Why did Amanda Serrano just fight Katie Taylor? Completely pointless. Yeah, they were talking about her and Taylor for Crow Park. They can still do that fight probably in the summer, but it depends how Serrano comes through. I think she's fighting in February. And yeah, the only card we have announced so far, well, it's not actually been announced, but it's pending announcement, is the Lee Wood show. It's the Lee Wood fight. I don't know of any other fights that are in the pipeline. Not that I've heard of anyway. I'm just trying to think. I don't think there is any. So, look, obviously Eddie Hearn talks about being international, Matchroom is global. At the end of the day, most of his fighters are from the UK, are based in the UK. His bread and butter has always been America and the US or the UK, primarily the UK. I like having some UK shows quite regularly. I like having the Zone shows. I like having Queensbury. I like having Boxer, Probellum, Wasserman, etc. Even those Mick Hennessy shows on Channel 5 weren't bad. Time for AJ to have some gimme fights. Franklin White, then Hergovich, Valine, or Zhang. Then go for a belt. Simple path. You say simple. There's nothing simple in this world, man. There's nothing simple. You never know with some of them fights. Ward Lara, who do you make favourite? Sorry, Wood Lara, who do you make favourite? Right now, I'm probably, if fight gets announced next, my pick is going to be Lara by knockout. Defo better off taking the white fight first. Yeah, I think so as well. Valine is a banana skin. It could very well be. AJ, in my opinion, Wilder knocks him out in the first 3. I'm putting big money on that fight. Yeah, I'd be picking Wilder as well, truth be told. I think that AJ is going to overthink Wilder's right hand too much. And if you overthink it and you constantly focus on it, you could end up actually getting caught with it, if you know what I mean. You over-focus on something. I can see him doing that. And I also think AJ with the high guard, that's asking him to slip a right hand down the guard. When AJ says he wants AJ to fight 3 times in 2023, he's thinking about what's best for the zone, not necessarily what's best for AJ. You see, when he says fight 3 times, I don't mind that. I think that actually 3 times in a year would be good for him because he's not done that since 2016. And sometimes the activity will help. But again, it just depends on the opponent. And honestly, no, God forbid they did that. Seriously. Don't even come with that, man. God forbid they did that. I would be seriously worried about Dave Allen if they did that. I think AJ needs to go back to when he came in at 17 stone 8, come forward fighter. Yeah, you run the risk. AJ knows himself he can be hurt. And I think that's constantly going to be in his mind. I think that AJ running through people may well and truly be gone unless we're getting him in there with as someone like a White or a Franklin or Washington or someone like that. Let's be honest. Okay. Eddie is wrongly promising AJ fights Fury or Wilder this year. How can he guarantee that? Well, the Fury fight, I don't know why he mentions Fury but not Usyk, because obviously they're going to have a fight this year. Assuming Fury wins, likelihood is he'll either retire or he'll fight a Dubois or he'll fight a Joyce. I don't know how they're going to swing that fight. The Wilder fight, I mean, we've seen what happened with the Wilder fight before in 2018. We know for some bizarre reason, Wilder didn't want to take a 100 mil offer with the zone. He actually was convinced that was a bad offer. Imagine that, career high payday. Like multiple career high paydays, and that's somehow a bad offer. Imagine. So I don't know. I think Wilder's team now would be more willing to make that fight because I think at this stage it's just a case of get as much money as we can. If he wins, happy days. If he loses, all right, we've made our money. I was going to say Sugar Hill. Yeah, Sugar Hill Stewart. Like Emmanuel Stewart, if he was alive now, that Kronk style would fit AJ perfect. With Sugar Hill, it ain't gonna happen. Now we just it ain't gonna happen. He's training Tyson Fury, AJ's rival. It ain't gonna happen. I have no clue why they rushed to get him back in contention. Get your trainer, fight a tin can for the zone numbers, build up activity, get Zhang, Wallin, and Dylan White fights and grab a straight belt. That could be part of the plan. You know, interesting. I was just thinking to myself there when I was reading the other comment. Jonathan Banks, he's a former student. Well, he used to be trained by Emmanuel Stewart when he fought. He knows the Kronk style. I wonder would Jonathan Banks be a good fit for Anthony Joshua? I mean, in fact, actually, Jonathan Banks was in the corner of Klitschko when Klitschko fought Joshua. I wonder would that be a good idea? That's a name we haven't talked about, Rick. Jonathan Banks for Anthony Joshua as a trainer. That might be an interesting one. You know, Klitschko, after Emmanuel Stewart passed away, that was who was in charge of Klitschko. That was who was training him. I think Shane McGuigan might be an idea for Joshua, but AJ would have to be prepared to accept him as the governor. I don't think Joshua has to go to America to rebuild. Shane McGuigan will be a great shout. Shane McGuigan is a very good trainer. He really has a great understanding of, you know, the dynamics of a fighter, you know, in terms of their, you know, body mechanics and stuff like that. I think he'd be brilliant. I really do. Wonder how he would get on with a Coley, because obviously Coley's left 258. I wonder would there be any friction there between those two? Dubois being in there as well. I think they get on all right. It'd be interesting. And I think McGuigan will be a great shout for Anthony Joshua. But like that, is he like that with McGuigan? He would probably rein Joshua in and say, no, I'm in charge. How would Joshua take that? How would he take that? Because it's an interesting one. You know, you heard from Robert Garcia that not strict enough in camp. Dom Ingle, no. I think Ingle has his fighters, and he likes kind of the tricky southpaws and people like that. I wouldn't see that working for Joshua personally. No, I don't think Matthew's main priority is Britain at the minute. It seems like they've kind of given up. I don't say they've given up. I don't want to say that, but I know what you mean. I love the Matchroom UK shows. I love them. I love seeing, as long as they're not clashing with, other cards, then brilliant. But I like seeing the fights over here. Obviously, like seeing the big fights get taken on the road a bit. Last year was a good year because we had big fights in places that we don't normally get them. You had big fights in Australia. I'd consider Kambosos versus Haney a big fight. We had that in Australia. Obviously, we had the Joshua Usyk rematch in Saudi, Fury versus White in the UK, Canelo Bivol. So we kind of got a bit of everything last year. That was good. I enjoyed that. And hopefully more of the same this year. Not always in the one place. I've never seen a superstar boxer so dedicated to being a top name again, like AJ, new trainer, avenging losses, fighting for belts. Usyk talking about rebuilding. That's admirable. AJ be like, I don't know what's going on in that country, but it's not nice. I remember that. He literally turned himself into a meme with that one. He used to love Sky Matchroom. Seemed like a decent show every 2 weeks. He didn't have a huge rivalry in the UK. He's lost Dimitri. I remember do you remember the very early days of Sky and Matchroom? Those cards were lit. Those cards were good. I remember Carl Froch fought Butte on Standard Sky. That's crazy. I mean, that would be pay-per-view nowadays if it was a fight of that magnitude. And it wasn't even that crazy magnitude, but I remember that was a real good one. Those next gen shows, some of those next gen shows were really good. I missed those next gen shows. I heard Hearn was trying to get them back on the zone, like the next gen shows, but I haven't heard any announcements of any of them yet. I missed those. I liked them. You kind of knew that these were going in there to have essentially just run outs against guys they were supposed to beat, but still it was good to get a look at, as Eddie Hearn said, the next gen, and just see what you're working with, see how they're doing. I kind of miss that. I do miss that. Hasn't AJ meant to be doing 3 a year for the past 6 years now, since 2017? I don't remember him saying it now, to be honest with you, mate, but it wouldn't shock me if that was the plan. Obviously, 2020 was a write-off. 21 was a bit of a write-off last year, which was getting the Usyk rematch. And, 19, I think in 2019 they did have that plan, because obviously they wanted to fight Dylan White. That was the plan. Dylan White in April, fight in the summer, I think a fight in the winter. And obviously Dylan White didn't take the April date. Miller was supposed to take the date in June. We all know what happened with Big Pharma. And then obviously Ruiz beat Joshua, which meant we got the rematch. So a heavyweight boxing is one of those divisions where you come into a year with a plan and it just gets ripped up. It just gets completely ripped up. That's kind of how heavyweight boxing is. You can never plan ahead in heavyweight boxing. As the late, great Murray Walker would say, anything can happen, and it usually does. This is slightly off topic, but is Fury making a mistake fighting Usyk so quickly after the Chisora fight? Will he be eating and drinking over Christmas and might not have enough time to prepare? That's a very good point. Tyson Fury, he is someone who I would imagine would enjoy Christmas. He's not as bad as he used to be, though. I think that's one thing we have to say about Fury, to his credit. He used to really go ham on the food and drink. I think he's calmed that down a bit. He's never going to be Joe six-pack. Seeing Tyson Fury with a six-pack would be so strange, wouldn't it? It just wouldn't look right. I know it sounds. It just wouldn't look right seeing Tyson Fury. If you saw him with a six-pack, you'd be just like, what the hell is that? So he's never going to be the body beautiful type. But I wouldn't worry too much about it, mate, to be honest. I don't think he's as bad as he used to be back in the day, where he'd eat just crazy amounts and pack on weight like that. I don't think he's as bad as that. I think he does keep himself a lot more active. Peter Fury may take the job. Don't see a reconciliation between him and Tyson, especially after watching Hatman's video on it. I can't remember what was the beef about again. It was something to do with David Hay, wasn't it? And then it just kind of got a bit deeper than that. Or was it money? I can't really remember the ins and outs of it all. But it's sad because, obviously, Peter seems like a good guy. Like a really good guy. You don't want to see family members fall out. You don't want to see that. If he wasn't so close to Tyson, I'd like to wonder how Andy Lee would get on with Joshua. So would I. I think Andy Lee is a good coach. I do. I think he's a good trainer. I do genuinely think that. And I think with Parker, the problem I have with Andy Lee is maybe it's not Andy, maybe it's a Joseph Parker thing. I don't know. But I don't agree with him going down the road of putting weight on Parker. If that was his idea, I'd have to disagree with that. But Andy Lee is a very good boxing brain. As a commentator, I don't mind him. He's a better analyst. He's a better pundit than he is a commentator. I think him on DAZN, he's had some howlers, put it like that. He's had some times where I've listened to him on DAZN and thought, what are you on? What are you watching? But there's other times where he's been good. As an analyst, he's brilliant. I think Andy Lee is a very underrated analyst. He's very good. I really like him as an analyst. As a commentator, it's kind of he commentated for Sky a few times. And he had moments like that as well there where you were just, sometimes it was good, and then other times it was just like, what the hell are you watching? I think AJ got too much money to be hungry enough to want to go all the way again. Like the old saying about Hagler, it's hard to get up and do road work at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're wearing silk pajamas. Matchroom since leaving Sky have lost Demetrius Andre. Well, it's not really a loss, to be fair. Haney, Saunders, Smith, Parker, Hughie Fury, Marshall, Okoli. Dalton Smith re-signed, to be fair. Brooke. This is why undercards are shocking in the UK. Now, let's dissect that. So, Demetrius Andre, it's not that much of a loss, really. Haney may very well go back to them. Saunders, I don't think he's going back. Smith, no. Parker, no. Fury, no. Marshall, no. Coley, hell no. Smith's re-signed. Brooks retired. So look at those names. Like, I'm just thinking, right? If you had Anthony Joshua and you were putting him and you had those names still, you would have Liam Smith on the undercard. You would have Joseph Parker against a fringe contender. You'd have Billy Joe Saunders in a comeback fight, maybe against a Martin Murray type level opponent. There's your undercard, and maybe you'd have a Coley defending his title. That makes for a decent pay-per-view undercard. If you can afford it, obviously, because you don't know what way they look for salaries and stuff like that. If you had to bet on it, you think Fury will end up fighting Usyk by I would go and say no, but that doesn't mean I don't think the fight's going to happen. I'd say probably later in March, maybe towards the back end of March to give it a bit more time to simmer. Mid to late March, I'd say. Mid to late March. So I think the fight will happen, but maybe not on the 4th. Anyone who can't see that AJ is done is beyond hell. People think he will miraculously find the skill to beat Fury, Usyk, Joyce, etc. I think not. Well, I don't think he's beating Fury or Usyk. Give him a better chance against Joyce. I probably would, at this stage, I'd probably favour Joyce at this stage. Those next gen shows were great value for a night out. I attended a few and they were really good from start to finish. That's why Hearn's DAZN shows highlighting the new talent. I loved them. I loved the way he did the midweek as well. So he didn't sell it as a big Saturday fight night. He done them on, say, Wednesdays, Thursdays. They were brilliant. And there was some great shows. Ryan Joyce when he fought Reece Bellotti. I think it was Ryan Joyce. Or Ryan Walsh when he fought Reece Bellotti. You had a Coley versus Camacho, I think, on one of them. He had some great shows. Isaac Chamberlain. Do you remember Jake Ball when he got knocked out by JJ McDonough in a round? He had some great next gen. He really did. I missed them. And the thing is, right, a lot of those guys, well, Reece Bellotti wasn't, but a lot of them were turning over from the Rio 2016 squad because it was like he opened up a sack and was like, Rio 2016, pro contract, Matchroom, there you go, hop in. That was kind of what it was like with Eddie Hearn. With Tokyo 2020, it's been different. He's got a few, Warren's got a few, Shalom's got a few. So it's all spread out. For me, I think the more promoters, the better, though. because I think that my logic behind it is the more promoters, the more emphasis you're going to have on putting on good shows from all the promoters involved. So Shalom, Warren, even Probellum, even Wasserman. I think there's more emphasis on putting on good shows. And that's one thing that we don't talk about enough. And it's Eddie Hearn's saving grace as well, is that he does also have that very good deal with Wasserman. Now, I know Wasserman work with Sky Sports, but they work with him pretty much, or then with Eubank. With regards Hearn and Wasserman, I mean, we've seen Lyndon Arthur fight on a few Sky cards, Nathan Gorman, or not Sky, sorry, the Zone cards. So there's a good chance that Eddie Hearn will still have a couple of good names on undercards because Wasserman will get some of their guys out on the undercard. They've been doing that for years. Him and Kella have had a business relationship for years. Happy New Year, sir. What do you reckon? Zilly Zhang, White, and then Wilder. To be honest, I reckon we may only see AJ once this year. Seems to take age from the organised fights. I'm not holding my breath over the 3 fights, but I would like to probably see him against White first, then an Ortiz, and then maybe a Zhang or a Wallin before going in and making a go of it next year. In an ideal scenario. It will be legendary. You think he's going to make a statement? I'm not exactly as hopeful, mate. I'm not hopeful. If he's anywhere as good as I know he can be, he will. Do you think Frank has a point about a load of fighters leaving the zone? Yes and no. I mean, would it have would they be leaving if? And I know Eddie Hearn can say what he wants about being an international promoter, but a lot of these guys aren't really getting out on any of these international shows. If he was doing more UK-based shows, next-gen shows, would some of these be going elsewhere? That's a question I have. I don't know. I know Liam Smith wasn't exactly keen. Not that he wasn't keen, but I know for him, fighting Fowler back in 2021 was kind of seen as a bit of a drop down. Where is Fowler actually anyway? He's still with Matchroom, but he's not been out lately. I like Anthony Fowler. He's been about a year now. So, yes and no, I suppose. I know Frank Warren will troll Eddie Hearn given any chance because he just loves it. You know what Frank Warren is like. He loves any chance he can get to you-know-what on Eddie Hearn. Pretty much. I reckon it's Eubank, Hearn, and who would be third? Public enemy number 1 for Frank Warren. Probably Eubank, because he does not like the Eubanks at all. He really doesn't like them. Hearn, both Hearns, and someone else, because they're like Frank Warren. You'll never hear him say a good word about them. Love your videos. Keep it up. Everyone hit the like button, please. There's 60 of yous in the building. Let's try and get the old likes up. Keep the old YouTube algorithm as happy as Larry. That looks okay there, Graham. That's perfect. Make sure it does actually. That does looks perfect. I'm always worried because when you're live streaming, it looks different on the camera I'm using than it does there. It genuinely does. I don't know what happens when it goes live on StreamYard. It seems to affect the quality or something. It looks different from what I can see to what's there. It's weird. A big up to Nick. Big up G-Man and the whole chat. Smash the like button on the way in. Support the channel. Please, people, if you could, support the channel whatever way you can. Whether it's a like, whether it's anything. Help your boy out. Help your boy get 10K. That's the goal. I can't wait to see you get 10K. Do you know what, actually? I know what I'm going to do for a 10K special. And I had to laugh when I seen it. So my uncle came over at Christmas time. And he'd been up north recently, just for a day, just shopping. And he didn't know what to get. Now, he knows I don't really drink alcohol. But he just couldn't think of what to get me. So he bought me a bottle of rosé. Now, he doesn't know about YouTube. He doesn't know about tie and boot, anything. He got me a bottle of Echo Falls. Haven't tried it. Haven't touched it. But he got me a bottle of Echo Falls. Said he got it in Sainsbury's up north. So I got to try that for the 10K. I've got to have a taste test for the 10K. That's got to be a thing because I don't know what Echo Falls tastes like. Can't wait for Eubank versus Smith for a real fight. It's going to be a great fight. I can't see Liam Smith losing. Really, too much pedigree. It's going to be interesting. I'm doing a watch-along, lads, for that fight as well, by the way. Can't wait for that. Haven't done a watch-along since AJ versus Usyk. So we're doing a watch-along. Dev Hardy. AJ simply ain't good enough to swim with the top heavyweights at the moment. Fury and Usyk are natural-born fighters. They don't need to reset. They just flow. It's a good point. I'd be giving Conor Benn the edge in that fight personally. I'd pick him over Tank Davis. It's just natural size. And I gotta have to say, big up to Neural. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you, mate. Appreciate the £5. I always read the super chats first. Thoughts on Dennis pulling out of the KS against KSI? Yeah, I seen that. It's a Dylan Dennis. They have an opponent lined up, but I don't know. Like I don't know who. You see, here's the problem, right? I'm not big in YouTuber boxing. Like, not that I don't like it. I watch the odd guy if I know them, but I don't know who any of these guys. Like, I had no idea who Jake Paul was until he had that. Was it the amateur contest with KSI? I didn't even know who I don't know who any of these are because I don't really follow that kind of YouTube. I don't follow these KSIs or people like that, so I don't know who they are. They've got millions of subscribers, but I've never heard of any of them. So for me, it's kind of like, okay, this guy is okay. That's what I'm kind of like. But look, I don't mind the YouTuber boxing. I'll watch some of it if I know them or something like that. So we keep it going. But appreciate the £5. Like I said, every little bit helps. I always say that, whether it be 79 pence, £5, however much, every little bit helps. And thank you. 180 odd to go. Let's like and subscribe. 100 and if my maths is correct, 127. No, sorry, 133. My maths wasn't correct because 9,827. That would mean I'm 133. No, 173. Yeah, my maths really was off there. That was embarrassing. 173 off. 173 off. Now, I missed a lot of chats there. Apologies, people. Where was I? I think I was here. Oh, really? Oh, happy days. I wonder who they're going to get on it. February the 18th. Is that a weekday or a weekend? It would be a weekend, wouldn't it? Wait a minute. February the 18th. Isn't that the day they're going to have Lara versus Wood? February 18th. I think Sky pushed for a Coley, him versus React Poor. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's the plan for them as well. Would they do it on pay-per-view? I don't know. I know Cody's going to be back out in March, probably against David Light. They haven't announced the venue, but they said it's going to be in London. Look, I've nothing against the Cody personally, but Eddie Hearn tried with him in the O2, didn't work. I don't know if you do the Wembley Arena, truth be told. I reckon that's going to be in the Copper Box. Seriously, the Copper Box is all right, but Cody is not like Eddie Hearn. You could say it's harsh him saying that when he heard saying like face the sky, ha ha ha. You could say that's harsh, but like I keep it objective, you know. I don't care about Eddie Hearn. I don't care about Cody as people, but I have to agree with Eddie Hearn. I don't mean that to be harsh, but like Cody has stumped the place out repeatedly. I can't see him being the face of boxing on Sky at all. It seems like a nice little offer that they made to get him to sign, but I just don't see it unless he really changes his style up. Do you think Boots Ennis will fight Spence before Crawford? Look, I love Boots Ennis. I think he is absolutely unbelievable. But I want to see Spence Crawford. I'm staying objective on that. Frank Stable, apart from heavyweights, isn't that good. Well, he's definitely done well with heavyweights. Usman's not bad. You know, Usman's not bad. Yard. Look, I've rated Yard, as you may all know. I do rate him. I do think he is a good fighter, but I just do think that his career has been handled. And Anthony Yard has to shoulder some of the blame in it because I think that he's got too comfy with Tunde. Tunde's taken him as far as he can get him. He needed to branch out and change things. G-Man, strange question. But do you listen to those conspiracy Irish guys who do the podcast? They often mention G-Man. I was wondering if that's you. I have no idea who those guys are, but I don't really watch many Irish channels, and who are the conspiracy guys? I don't know. They can mention me. I don't know. It could be another G-Man. I don't know. But I don't know who the conspiracy guys are. I watch the Irish channels I watch are obviously what Irish channels I watch. I obviously watch Thomas Sheridan. That's probably it, really. Shame that Charlo had to withdraw. Yeah, I was looking forward to that fight too. I really was. I was looking forward to that fight. AJ fights two builders no one's heard of. I know he'll fight. Will have heard of them, definitely. Will have heard of them. Big up to Kiva. AJ, man, how are you settling in the new job? Hope you're all okay after the hard months you said you had last year. Yeah, I'm pretty much good now. You know, I was like mainly August and September. I mean, that really wrote me off. That was a bad time. Don't want to go back there. That was a horrible time. But after I went to London and had a couple of days over there in October, I was kind of I was all right. I was all right after that. Like obviously, it was you know what. It wasn't nice. In terms of the new job, yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I do miss my old one. I haven't really settled in this new one, but you know, I got myself into this mess, so I'll leave it there. I think Hearn still wants to fight, but probably he's looking for crazy numbers like Mayweather McGregor. You're never gonna do numbers like that. I mean, those guys, 4 million. The zone is so desperate they have to resort to Dylan Danas on pay per view, and even that didn't work out. The board members must be having a nightmare. Jay Jr. Big up G man. Hope you hit your 10k goal soon. Prime Calzaghe versus Triple G. 168 pounds. Who do you got? I got Calzaghe. I think he outworks him. Triple G. He can freeze on. Well, not freeze, but he won't punch with you. I think Calzaghe would have outworked him. Would have been a tough fight though. Would have been a tough fight, but I think Calzaghe would have outworked him. Joe Calzaghe doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't get the credit he deserves. Joe Calzaghe is a tremendous fighter. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. No way. Tremendous fighter. Everyone close the chat for 1 second and hit the like for your man. Yeah, exactly. I was wondering when you said close the chat. I was like, why are you closing the chat for? No, definitely. If they hit the like button, hit that like button, man. Yo, man, hit that like button, man. Echo Falls, good luck with that. Look, I'm not expecting it to be nice, mate, but I'm just curious. Ever since I said you can't get it here, I'm just curious. So if I get 10k, I will pour myself a glass of Echo Falls and I will actually try it live for the 10k special. We'll see how that goes. I'm curious because I got it for Christmas. I haven't touched it yet, so I don't know what it's like. But I've heard people. You're not the first person to tell me that it's not nice. You're not the first person, Joe, to tell me that's not nice. So I'm not expecting miracles from it. I'll put it like that. I'm not expecting it to try it and just be like, oh wow, my new favorite drink. I'm not expecting that. You think Fury is at his best ever? It's hard not to look. It's hard not to look good against Shore, but he seems slower than usual. Yeah, I've noticed that. Like under Sugar Hill, I think he's improving in terms of his ability under Sugar Hill. He's looking different every fight, but he definitely does seem to be slowing down a bit. Naughty question. Prime Foreman versus Prime Tyson. I got to go with Prime Foreman. I know Foreman was easier to hit, but I think he would have bullied the bully. I think he would have ragdolled Tyson up and down that ring. All right, I'm gonna tell you this, right? I'm gonna tell you this, right? Some people are gonna laugh at this, but I would actually pick Frank Sanchez to beat Joe Joyce. I think that the speed and the movement would give Joyce fits. I want to know my target for the end of this year. Big up, man. I think Fury is the GOAT. Lewis would have cocked him for fun. I think Lewis would have knocked Fury out, personally. Interesting couple of weeks. Big up to Nick and Joe. When will Conor Benn fight Boots Ennis? I think if he did, Boots Ennis would beat Conor Benn in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Seriously, Boots Ennis is a talent. I mean, we are seeing a very special fighter in Boots Ennis, I'm telling you. Hey, G-Man, congratulations on nearly 10k. Just a little bit more. Fury has a few people to fight. I was reading that too quick before we get to GOAT status. Yeah, definitely. AJ, Usyk, Joyce at least. I mean, think of it like this, right? Imagine you're saying Lionel Messi. And Lionel Messi, in my opinion, is the greatest. Imagine you're Lionel Messi and you win a La Liga title, a Champions League title, and the Copa America. But you say you're the greatest. You've no World Cup. And I'm using this as an analogy because it's like saying you've done a couple of good things. Or imagine you win the La Liga 3 times in a row, and you win the Copa America 3 times in a row with Argentina, and you don't win. Maybe you don't even win the Champions League. Maybe you win the Europa League 3 times in a row. Can you say, I know obviously as a player, we know he's the greatest. We know he's got all the talent. But imagine Ronaldo wins the Premier League, La Liga, Euros, Champions League, Europa League, etc. You get me? Messi has everything. Messi's literally completed football. Fury has 3 wins over the same guy and Chisora, 1 defense over Dylan White and Vladimir Klitschko. It's not enough to say you're the greatest. Muhammad Ali fought everyone in the 1960s. Because I know the 1960s wasn't the strongest era in terms of heavyweight boxing. You had Sonny Liston, but you had Floyd Patterson. He probably had seen better days at that point. And then you had your Zora Foley's, your Henry Coopers, your Brian Londons. Who else did you have in the 1960s? Frazier hadn't really come around. Who else did you have in the 1960s? You had Ernie Terrell, I think is how you pronounce his name. So you didn't really have a great depth. You go into the 1970s, he beat Foreman, he beat Frazier, he beat Norton, he beat the Argentinian guy whose name escapes me, Jerry Quarry. Who else did he beat? Did he beat Jimmy Ellis? I don't think he did, actually. Did Muhammad Ali ever fight Jimmy Ellis? Did he finally come back? I'm not sure. Beat Floyd Patterson again, I know that. He did, Ernie Chavis, Ron Lyle. He fought everyone. Fury hasn't done anything like that. I think Eddie Hearn still wants to fight. Probably he's looking at crazy. I think I already read that. There's a few G-Mans running around YouTube. Yeah, I've noticed that. I noticed that. Must be a common name. What has Hearn done with Callum Smith after Groves' fight? Do you know something? That is one where I do not, under any circumstances, give Eddie Hearn any issues with that, because Joe Gallagher, when he was working with Callum Smith, I don't know if they're working together now, some of the demands he was making, I can understand completely why Eddie Hearn didn't do that much with Callum Smith, because Joe Gallagher is an absolute what to work with. I don't see Warren Stable having much depth beyond heavyweight. If heavyweight boxing is all you're interested in, that's fine. But I like all weights. I like all weights as well. But as you know, myself, Joe, I love seeing the heavyweights, and to invest in them is always a good thing. It's always a good thing. And as I said, he kind of has the end of this generation, Dubois and what's the other guy's name? Adelaide. And then obviously Atuma as well on the come up. Yeah, I think Usman's going to win that fight. Chris Congo really impressed me a couple of years ago, but he just seems to have regressed a lot since then. I don't know what it is, but I think that's a great little fight. I'll go with Foreman. Yeah, I'll go with Foreman. Sky done such a poor job with Katie Taylor. She'll be 4 legit world champions, and no one knows who he is outside boxing. You mean Josh Taylor? I was like, Katie Taylor? I was like, what? Josh Taylor, fair enough. I was wondering. Yeah, he beat 4 legit world champions and no one knows who he is. Yeah, and that's the thing about Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is such a cool guy. I mean, you'd think he would be a star because he has such a likable personality. I like Josh Taylor. Yo, big up the base every single time, man. Big up to you, my man. Another one like G-Man. Crawford versus Mayweather, definitely. No. I might not like Floyd, but God almighty, he was a tremendous fighter. I don't like Floyd. His personality, no, a lot about Floyd I don't like, but as a fighter, he was tremendous. Now, him against Crawford would be a good fight, don't get me wrong. Crawford, stylistically, could give Floyd a lot of problems, but Floyd was tremendous. I mean, don't let your dislike for someone take away what they were as a fighter. Floyd was incredible. He really was. Whether it be Pretty Boy Floyd or Money Mayweather, Floyd was amazing, And you could say, yeah, he's had, his career has been managed, what. It was managed very well. He, would fight fighters maybe a little bit later, etc. But at the end of the day, he still had to beat them. And Floyd was amazing. He really was. But as a person, I don't like Floyd at all. 72 on the building, smash the like button. What's your most anticipated card that has been announced so far? Not just the main event so far. That's a good question, actually, mate. That's a good question. That's been announced so far. I would probably say, that's a good question. So we haven't really had much announced. In terms, if you were to ask me main event, I'm going to answer the question now. If you ask me the main event, I would say genuinely, hand on my heart, Beterbiev versus Yard. But in terms of the card that's been announced, I'm going to say Eubank versus Smith. I think that card, I love the Usman Congo fight. The Parker Massey fight is a bit weird, but I'll watch it. I like that card. I think that card looks really good. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm doing a watch along for that one as well. So I'd say that's probably the one. Obviously, the undercard's been very little announced on the undercard for the Frank Warren fight. I know. Well, I don't. Who was meant to be on it? I think. Tommy Fletcher is on it, and I like Tommy Fletcher. He's a very good shout for the future. Tommy Fletcher. It's a good signing from Frank Warren. The cruiserweight, the young cruiserweight. He's looking big. He's looking, and a big puncher too. Remember, Mark Tibbs told me he was the hardest puncher he's ever worked with. He's only 20. Yep, he hasn't proved it yet. He beat Jimmy Ellis twice. I thought that, I wasn't sure. R.I.P. Jimmy Ellis, he died in 2014. Tesco Joe. Yeah, like Eddie Hearn, when people say, like, oh, look what he was, Eddie Hearn tried with Callum Smith. Joe Gallagher makes some bizarre, I want this, we want this. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? Literally. Man thinks he's the A-side against Canelo. No, Eddie Hearn, I remember saying when Natasha Jonas, when he was trying to re-sign her, that he was offering her like 2 or 3, I think it was 2 fights, decent pay, against, whatever level she was obviously going to win, and then Katie Taylor. And they wanted even lower level but same pay. It's like, what? What? Like, you can't blame Eddie Hearn for not going ahead with that. That's not his fault. There are rumours Spencer Fearon borrowed money from Daniel Williams and never paid it back. Jesus. And poor Danny Williams, I mean, Jesus Christ. Why he's still fighting is just... man, that's sad. Danny Williams still fighting. What did you think of Jamie Conlon putting on? What do you think of putting on shows more consistently in Ireland, mostly around Ulster? Yeah, well, he's from Belfast as well. I know Jamie Conlon was very much associated with a certain... Well, he was the vice president of a certain company, which is no longer going. And they had a lot of issues down in the Republic and down in the south side. So I'd love to see him put shows back on in Dublin. I know he's got family around Dublin. I know the Conlons, I think somewhere in Dublin, they're originally based as well as Belfast, I think on both sides. So I'd love to see him put more shows on down here. I haven't been Belfast in a long time, and I'd love to go up to see one of the shows up there. And there's a lot of shows going on. There's another show happening in Belfast I think it's televised as well on terrestrial TV here, sometime in February. And it was good that they started putting boxing on terrestrial TV in Ireland again. A lot of the shows are up north, but it's nice. I mean, there was some good fights on last year. You guys wouldn't have seen him. I see him. Eric Donovan's fight against, I can't remember the guy's name. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. It was a great fight. I was delighted to see Eric Donovan win. And then there was some big knockouts as well on those cards. Brilliant. Josh was against the you-know-what and the Foghorn Leghorns. So Scott, yeah, I know. That's the problem. Like, you're kind of... You speak out against that and you know what's going to happen. That's why I use the code words like Foghorn, Leghorn and stuff like that. I ain't giving YouTube no chances. I ain't taking no chances with that. And big up to Josh Taylor every single time. What do you think has been the best UK card the past 5 years? Best UK card? I said it last night. Eddie Hearn, when he put on Dylan White versus Joe Parker. I mean, you will not top that. That card was perfect. That was literally, right, that card. Top of the bill, Dylan White, Joe Parker. Tremendous scrap. Co-main, Chisora versus Takam. Amazing fight. Then it was Kay Taylor. I forget who she fought. She got a knockout that night, if memory serves me correct. You Conor Benn versus Paynow in the rematch. You Dave Allen versus Nick Webb. That was some fight. Who else fought on that card? That's just the ones I can remember. I'm sure Fowler fought on it, had a big knockout. Someone else fought on it. That was a great card. That was brilliant from top to bottom. Yeah, it's some feat. Yeah, like I'm not a fan of Floyd at all. I don't like him, but he was tremendous. What do you think of Kelly Harrington's book given out about Pete Taylor, perfecting Katie Taylor in the amateurs? Well, that's his daughter. Of course, he's going to help her. Kelly Harrington, I don't like her. She's not a likable human being. From what I've seen her, she's just not too likable. I've tried liking Floyd many times. Yeah, he's a great record, tremendous fighter, but he's just not a likable guy. Was a great fighter, but he's never had a penny out of me. Morally, he's just, yeah, like, look what Floyd promotes. I mean, he promotes strippers and all that jazz, but he can't promote women like that. They're ratchet, just, ugh. And other things as well, it's just like, ugh. Conlon Boxing planning on putting 5 or 6 shows on in Ireland, North and South. Brilliant. Brilliant. Delighted with that. It's not really like, in Ireland, like, there's really, you could put shows on in Belfast, you could put them on in Dublin, and you could put a few on in Cork. That's really it. You know, unless you have fighters from that kind of region, like if you're looking at the West, you'd really be, you know, it wouldn't probably do well or do good numbers if you did one in the West and they were all fighters from Belfast or they were all from Dublin or something like that. You're probably best off either doing it in Belfast or Dublin, one or the other. If you put them all around Ireland, I mean, a lot of them would tank. I don't say that because I want them to, but they would tank because a lot of the times people are not going to go to Galway, you know, from Dublin. Although it's not a long drive, they're not going to go from Galway to Belfast. And people from Galway are going to be like, "Is anyone we know fighting?" Or no, they wouldn't talk like that. They'd be like, "Asher Jesus, there. Is anyone we know fighting on it?" No, Asher Jesus. Why would I bother watching it? Jesus, I'll go to the pub. You know, that's what kind of the Midlands of Ireland is like. Asher Jesus, there, Mick. Who's fighting? Don't know. It's from Dublin. Oh Jesus, I won't watch that. That's what they're like. Sadly, I think Danny Williams is long past the point where he cares. Yes, unfortunately. That's I'd hope. That's why I say I hope Dave Allen doesn't do that. I'd hate to see Dave Allen go down that road. I really would. I'd hate to see it. He doesn't need it. Yeah, Mark Dunlop. That's who's putting the card on up in Belfast in February. He put on some great cards. He has a deal with TG4 here in Ireland, which is terrestrial TV. The only issue is they speak in Irish. I don't speak a word of Irish. They do have English commentators as well, but mainly it's Irish. But the pundits, like, I mean, the last show they had Paddy Donovan, they had Eric Donovan actually pundit as well. And who else did they have? They had someone else. Was it Jay Quigley? No, it was someone else. Might have been Jay Quigley actually. It was someone else. They done a great show on it. Eric and Paddy Donovan, great pundits. Yeah, they are. They are both great pundits. They really were. Yeah, Paddy Donovan, he gets it. He gets boxing. He's good. I like Paddy Donovan, actually. Never met him, but he seems a cool guy. He's from Limerick. Miller versus White. Jesus. You know, I'd still watch it. I would. I would still watch it. I would genuinely still watch it. But Jesus Christ. Big Pharma versus Dylan White. Right. I'm sure the knowledge will pay him back one day. You don't need to like Floyd. He's not a likable character. There's a lack of likable male role models in general because bombastic flash guys like Floyd and Tate are taking up the airwaves. Yeah, like Andrew Tate, I don't really mind that much. He's very bombastic. Yes, he brags a lot, but you can learn a lot from Andrew Tate. And Andrew Tate is good at getting you motivated. He is good at that. I'll give him that. He's very good. And I don't really mind Tate too much, to be honest with you. Yeah, E-Machine's explaining it there. I want to keep the monetization going, so I have to, you know, when it comes to that, you know, the code words all the way. Yeah, you've watched Big Pharma versus White. We don't call him Big Baby, we call him Big Pharma. Of protecting her. I thought you said perfecting her. in the Irish system and not given. Interesting. In 2016 was taking place. Did you at any time think Fury had it? Just no, I didn't. Honest to God, no, I didn't. I thought Wilder was going to knock him out in about 8 rounds. I think that was what I said. 8, 9 rounds, Wilder will knock him out. I didn't give him a chance in that fight. I really didn't. I really genuinely, hand on heart, thought Fury was going to get knocked out. I really genuinely thought he was going to get knocked out. It wasn't wishful thinking. I'd seen him look so bad in his previous 2 fights. I thought there's no way he's going to go in there with Deontay Wilder. He might be able to mess him around for a bit, but there's no way he's going to go in there and beat Deontay Wilder, in America, having only come back less than 6 months from everything. I was like, there's no way he's beating Deontay Wilder. I was like, there's no way. And boy, did he prove me wrong. That's why I always say, people sometimes can say, you're a bit harsh on that. And I'm always like, I am happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy for that. So when something like that happens, I'll be the first to hold my hand up and say, boy, was I wrong. And I'm happy to be proven wrong. TG4 are going to really push Kieran Malloy, especially in Galway. TG4 based, really. It's going to be good. There are a couple of fighters from kind of, the south, like the south, like from Cork. Well, there's not really any from Cork anymore. I mean, obviously Spike O'Sullivan's from Cork, but there's Kieran Corran from Kerry. How you doing there? I'm from Kerry. I'm from Tralee, Listowel. I'm from Kerry, Listowel. How's things? How many years do you think it will take for Shakur Stevenson to get to a level? It won't take him long. Wouldn't take him that long, I'd imagine. Talked about fighting Dylan Moran. He beat Dylan Moran. I remember he fought in America and he got absolutely wiped out by a guy. I think he was 3-1 or something like that, or less than that. He beat Dylan Moran pretty easy. No, he would. Where would he fight him in Limerick, though? That's the question. It's a good job that's empty as well. Big up to Spartans. I don't know where he'd fight him in Limerick because I don't know. Well, I've never been to Limerick myself. I've driven through it briefly going to corporate. You're only in it in like 5 minutes. I've never been in Limerick City, so I don't really know. Is that Irish accent? You sound like my neighbour. Oh, you do a Midlands Irish accent. Very great of us. Do an old Midlands Irish accent. Ash Jace there, Mick. How's it going? Ash Jace. Who's fighting on that card there, boy? Oh, I don't know. I think it's Maguire's son. Oh, Jesus, that gobshite. Sure, I'll go to see him get bait. Sure, I will as well. You buy me a Guinness. That's what they're like. They are literally like that. Doesn't he play for the parish? Always a great hurler. Is he? Always a great hurler. Or do you know Maguire? Yes, nice lad. Dull as fuck. That's what they're like. That is literally what they're like in the Midlands. Anyone listening from the Midlands of Ireland will know that. That's like your stereotypes. No, you're being a stereotype. No, I'm not. I've been there enough. I've been Midlands Ireland enough to know what they're like. How do some fans have Crawford and pound for pound number 1? He's been a pro 15 years. Best win, a finished Porter. Yet Canelo, 21 world champions. Same with Tank, 10 pro years. What are they waiting on? I think Crawford's talent is definitely undeniable, in my opinion. Gotcha, fair enough. David Hay versus Dave Allen? No, neither. Most Irish people talk Irish, or is it? Oh no, Jesus, no. Most Irish people can't speak Irish. It's very few places in Ireland that can really speak it. Like Connemara, parts of Kerry can speak it, parts of Galway, very, very West Galway. Like border Atlantic Galway. It's more in the West that can speak it. Like I never had to do it in school, and I know barely any words in Irish, to be honest with you. And it's very, even reading Irish is difficult because there's the fadas, so a lot of words don't sound like they look, and it's difficult. Can you do the rest of it? No, I'm not doing the rest of the live in an Irish accent, mate. No, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. But yes, that's what they are like, though. Oh, Jesus, if you ever hear them, like, it is funny, like, and sometimes, like, every county has a different accent. Every single county does. I would say that if you're up in the north in Donegal, that's the worst. They are impossible to understand, some of them. The old Donegal accent. But you go in the Midlands, it's just like, they are like that, you know. You get the old farmer set in their ways. Oh, Jesus, how are you doing there, Mick? Oh, grand, what are you having? I'll have a Guinness. I'll have one too. Jesus, who's that with you? Oh, my son. Oh, yes. Nice lad. Dull as fuck. But good lad anyway. He's a good worker. I'm really hyped for Boots Ennis. I think he can beat Spence. He's one of the most athletic fighters I've seen alongside Yard. No, I think he's definitely better than Yard. And I think Yard's athletic. You seem to not really like people say, no, I don't mind him. I don't mind him. I think in Ireland, right, they always kind of like, you get people who don't live in Dublin, they're like, oh, those bloody dubs. And then you get people who live in Dublin and are like, just those Midland lads are they're a bit out there. I think it's just always the way. I don't mind. Like, I like Ireland. I like going to the other counties because it's fun. A lot of them are nice. £300 blubber. Yep. He fought in December, but BoxRec still haven't updated how that fight went. I'd imagine he won, but you wouldn't know. Who do you think, Lucas Brown, or who would win? I mean, is that even a question? Obviously, Dylan White would win. Kakache versus Carroll. That'd be a great fight, actually. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'd favour... Ooh, who would I pick, actually? Because John O's not a bad fighter. And that loss to Maxie Hughes... Look, obviously, it's not nice losing, but, like, what Maxie Hughes has done, you can't really say, like, it was a bad loss. And Carroll done well in that fight, in parts, but Maxie Hughes was much better. I'd probably would favour Jono just slightly in it. Jono's from Raheny. Ruiz ruined him. Won't ever be the same AJ. G-Man, you got some negative comments on a recent video because you did not like Jordan Peterson. Yeah, like Jordan Peterson, E-Machine, you know what I mean. He failed. There was a test, he failed it. I'll leave it at that. We're thinking about doing boxing using a more UFC style format, as in far less amount of recording but longer for each round. Oh, I thought you were talking about videos. No. I think the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Big up the textbook boxing, by the way. He done a cracking little piece on Art of Baturbia. If you haven't seen that, go and watch it. Yes, I did. Thank you. To my shame. I gave him a real good chance of winning as well. Wonder what we were thinking. I think I was looking at Dylan White and I just thought he looked confident. I just felt like maybe an upset was in the air, and obviously it wasn't. It certainly wasn't. Oh yeah, that accent is hard as well. Yeah, that accent is hard as well. That accent is hard as well. I'd say Donegal is probably the worst. That's probably the hardest. It's probably the hardest accent to understand. Because people from Donegal, I've heard before, and I'm just like, that up. Can't help you. Can't understand it. Stick to the dub accent because I can understand that. Ireland isn't spoken mostly in Ireland due to, yes, over the last 800. Yeah, there are still people who know it, who speak it. Some people can speak it fluently. I can't. I never learned it in school, so I haven't a clue. Like, I know about one or two words. I could probably barely even make out a sentence in Irish, much less speak it. Big up from Italy to Simeon. Yeah, please, dear God, no. He'd fight all them. Yeah, mine would be originally from Ireland. Yeah, my great-grandfather fought in the War of Independence in 1916. Every country has, yeah. It's like exactly. And you see that in England. Like, you see it in England, like the northern accent and the north and south are very different. I mean, it obviously, like, the north of England has always been very different from the south of England. I mean, that goes back towards, Jesus, Anglo-Saxon times. The north and the south, they've been very, very, very different. I mean, the harrowing of the north in the 1070s. I mean, that says it all, kind of, really. That was when the north was genocided by William the Conqueror. But, you know, the northern accent and the southern English accent are very different. And the people are it's different culture as well. I mean, like, in the north, it's more lively. In the south, it's a little bit, it's quieter, definitely, in terms of, like, nightlife. Fraser Clark versus White, who wins? White, definitely. I can't do a Scottish accent. No, definitely, I cannot do a Scottish accent. What's your favourite county outside of Dublin? Probably Cork. I like Cork. Miller is huge. Chapman always goes on. He is, though. He's massive. Opinions on Thomas Carty. How far could he go? A couple of years ago was in the same gym as Thomas Carty. He was a lot lighter then, and he could move. That boy could move. He's a lot heavier now. He's put on way too much muscle, in my opinion. He's a lot more stationary. I think he needs to go back to his root. You should have seen him a couple of years ago when he was a lot lighter. He was still a heavyweight, but he wasn't a big heavyweight. And that boy could move. He could move. I've seen a lot more stationary and more plodding carty in the pros, and I don't like it. I think that as a mover, he would be a lot better, in my opinion. I think he needs to get rid of a lot of muscle. A lot of muscle. Really does need to get rid of a lot of muscle. For White, I mean, I wouldn't mind it, to be honest with you. I wouldn't really mind it too much, to be honest with you. I'd say he beat that. Yeah, I know. We couldn't find the part you mentioned. Yeah, we know about him. Yeah, it's a very tricky one. No, the 1916 one. I think he did fight in the Easter Rising too, of memory. He has a medal. Like, actually, we have one. It's actually in the fireplace over there. Like, literally over there. Thomas Carty looking to fight for an Irish title, but don't think there's anyone willing to fight him for it, because Ireland has very few heavyweights and most of them we have are garbage. I mean, he could fight Sean Turner, but I don't think he's fought in years. McKenna versus Marku, I'd make Marku a favourite. I think McKenna gets hit way too much. Yeah, Gary Cully, Matchroom have actually signed him to a long-term deal. Gary Cully is an interesting one. I rate him very highly. I think he's got a lot of talent. A lot of talent. He's improved a lot. I remember seeing him on Frank Warren shows a couple of years ago. And he didn't really impress me, truth be told. I looked at him and I kind of thought, okay, he was slapping a lot back then. If you look at Gary Cully back in the days when he was fighting on the IFL cards, when he was fighting on the Queensbury cards, he was slapping a lot. You could see it in his punches. He wasn't punching with full power, I don't think. That's one of the reasons why he was going. Now, he was only in 4 and 6 rounders, but he was going rounds a lot more back then. Now he's getting rid of these guys. You look at him back then, he was slapping a lot. He's improved under Pete Taylor. His technique is a lot better. He's using his height and reach a lot better now, and he's got big power in that left hand. So I think we've got a good one there. And I'd pick Calzaghe to beat Canelo at 168 pounds. I would. I'd pick him. Yeah, he's very good. Gary Cully, loads of talent. Yeah, Pete Taylor is a good coach. He is. He was in the amateur system for a long time. He's turned pro, or he's training pros now. He's trained them in where's he training? He's training in Ballyfermot now, in a gym out in Ballyfermot. Obviously, we know the situation in Bray. Can't go back there to the gym there for obvious reasons. But Pete Taylor is a good coach, and look at some of the fighters he's improving. You know, Carl Frampton was even thinking about going with him before he went to Jamie Moore. And, you know, I think he's done wonders for some certain fighters. And, you know, Gary Cully, proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding with Gary Cully. I rate Gary Cully very highly. Eddie Hearn done a good job signing him because he's got talent and lots of talent. I really rate Gary Cully pretty highly. I think he's very good. He's a very, very good fighter. Very good. Very impressed with him. So people, I've just gone a little over the hour mark there. I said I'd only do about an hour or so. Gotta keep it just call it quits here. So before I finish up, we've 75 in the building and only 52 likes, 56 likes actually. If you all could, smash the like button. I did in Midlands, Ireland. I did the accents and all in this stream. So I got it all out tonight. So smash the like button on the way out, lads, if you could. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, help your boy out. Share the video as much as you can. 10k, lads, come on, we want to get to 10k. I want to have a little sip of that Echo Falls and see what it's like on camera. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, people. Hope you like the new thumbnails. As I said at the start of the video, I've updated the thumbnails. Well, I haven't. One of the editors have, but I think they're looking good. And keep the new thumbnails going. I'm enjoying using the new thumbnails, and hopefully you enjoy them. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream, lads. I'll talk to you. Have a great one. Big up to Nick. Everyone who's watching, thank yous. Appreciate yous all. I really do. I genuinely do. I really do. I love reading your comments, everything, whether it be good or bad. I'm all happy with it. I'm happy that you enjoy the content. I'm happy that you are here, giving me a lot of support on here through the good and bad. Thank you for all that. I appreciate it all. Peace.